Market Fresh, broadcasting live from San Luis Obispo. Here's your host, Randall White.
And a big welcome, everyone, to the Market Fresh Hour, the Market Fresh Hour here on Eat, Drink, Explore Radio. This is the locally produced radio show here on Krush 92.5 FM, where we put you in touch with the fresh foods and food trends that are part of living on the Central Coast and here in California. Each week, we start off the show with some cooking and nutrition tips involving healthful, in-season foods. Then later in the show, we like to introduce you to somebody who's behind a California-made fresh food product or trend. And then finally, we round out each Market Fresh Hour with a farmer's market close-up. With hundreds of weekly farmers markets operating here in California, there are plenty of fresh ideas to go around, that's for sure. So we try to bring you the latest and what's happening locally here in San Luis Obispo, but also in some other areas of the state where markets are thriving. And speaking of thriving markets, hats off to the Saturday morning San Luis Obispo Farmers Market that you can catch each week from 8 in the morning until 10:45. That's in the Cost Plus parking lot off Madonna Road. As we told you back in August, the market is one of the 5 oldest in the state and just spent an entire month celebrating 35 years of bringing locally grown produce to the people. August was a record month for sales, with the final Saturday of the month raking in, get this, nearly $28,000 in just 2 hours and 45 minutes. That works out to, we figured it out, to $169 per minute for those vendors. It's also a 19% jump in sales over the same weekend the previous year. Overall, in August, sales were up about 17%, so very, very nice going. I do have some sales figures for that particular market dating back to 1982. And for that entire year, vendors at the market brought in a little more than $100,000. Still not bad, really, when you think about it. But then starting in the late 80s, sales really started to rise and rose quickly in the mid-90s. And again, throughout the 2000s, with big jumps from 2010 to 2011. And then just last year in 2012, that Saturday morning market saw its first ever $1 million year. I can't wait to see what the sales figures for the vendors at that Saturday morning market will see for 2013, but based on the August numbers, we should be sure to break last year's $1 million totals. We're scheduled to have that market's manager, Peter Janke, on the show later this month, possibly sometime in early October, to talk about what he believes is the secret to this long-standing and increasingly successful farmers market. And that is my weekly market, by the way. I can tell you it's been busier than ever lately, but the vendors are just as nice and as helpful as ever. And I've yet to encounter a time when they run out of what they're selling. Many of these same vendors pack up what they've got left, and I'm sure some more stored away, and then head off to the village of Arroyo Grande, where that market is held from noon until 2:30 in the alley located at 300 Branch Street. All right, this portion of Eat, Drink, Explore Radio brought to you by our friends at Eberly Winery in Paso Robles, open daily from 10 in the morning until 6 o'clock at night with complimentary wine tasting and cave tours, voted by Wine Spectator as one of the best tours on the entire Central Coast. Eberly Winery, located on Highway 46 East in Paso Robles. For more information, log on to eberlywinery.com. Very easy. EBERLE winery.com. Okay, just after a very short break, seriously, just 60 seconds, we'll get down to business with our healthy cooking and nutrition segment. You are listening to Eat, Drink, Explore Radio's Market Fresh Hour here on Krush 92.5 FM. I am your host, Randall White, always happy to be sharing my passion for fresh fruits, vegetables, and a healthy and sustainable way of eating. Hope you're having a great day. We're back in just a moment.
It's Market Fresh on Krush 92.5 FM.
We have celebrity chef Nathan Lyon back on the line with us discussing his upcoming return trip to Sunset, Savor the Central Coast.
Randall, it'll be another lineup of cooking tips plus Central Coast wine, beer, and true artisanal product made locally from Santa Cruz to Ventura.
And you will take center stage at the main event.
That's right. On Saturday, I'll demonstrate sustainable seafood. And on Sunday, it's all about farm-to-table concepts.
You'll be available, I hope, to sign copies of your book, Great Food Starts Fresh.
Absolutely. During Sunset in the Vineyard at Vina Robles on Saturday night. Plus, I'm putting together a picnic option for guests, too, just before the Colby Calais concert.
Who else is helping to dish out the Culinary Tips Savor Weekend?
Chef Central features the amazing celebrity chef Michael Voltaggio of LA Inc. and several other favorite chefs, too.
Wow, don't miss this impressive lineup at Sunset, Savor the Central Coast main event, Saturday and Sunday, September the 28th and 29th at the historic Santa Margarita Ranch in San Luis Obispo County. Thank you, Chef Lyon.
See you at the ranch.
You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network.
Fabulous.
Live with the very latest food, beverage, and travel trends.
Amazing.
Now here's the host of our show, Mr. Randall White.
And hello, 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 and a good day, everyone. You have arrived at California's numero uno place to talk about our state's food and beverage scene with a local, seasonal, and sustainable focus. This is the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio's Market Fresh Hour, where we are all about putting you in touch with the foods you eat, where they come from, who grows them, and what they do once they're inside you. Later on today's program, we are speaking with celebrity chef Nathan Lyon to learn his interpretation of a farm-to-table diet. Chef Lyon is one of the featured chefs at the upcoming Sunset Savor the Central Coast event at the end of September. So we are very lucky to have him with us in advance of his appearance. Then after that, we're headed to Southern California to hear about roasting peppers. It is that time of year. It's that season. And we'll hear some great tips from the organizer of the Santa Monica Farmers Market, some of the largest farmers markets in the nation. And they're offering free chili roasting demonstrations all month long at, I believe, a couple of their markets. But we're getting the goods right here without the long trip down south. So keep it tuned in. You'll get your pepper information. But first up this hour, it is our CookWell with Courtney segment. The last several times we've had her on the show, we just get a lot of response from listeners. People love to hear wellness tips from Courtney Coleman. She's a Central Coast resident and offers up cooking classes from time to time. But you can get a lot of information on her website as well, CookWell.org. Courtney Coleman, welcome back to Eat, Drink, Explore Radio. How are you?
Thanks, Randall. I'm great. How are you?
Good. It was so wonderful having you in studio last week. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you. Me too.
Courtney left the studio with a giant pot of beans, black beans that she had made at a cooking demonstration earlier in the day. And boy, those went in no time. I got to tell you, beans don't last long in our house.
Yeah, it's such a wonderful staple food to just have that pot of beans in your fridge to heat up really quick and eat with avocado or steamed veggies. I mean, or
lots of protein.
Rice. What?
Lots of protein.
Yeah, and wonderful fiber, and the black beans are particularly high in iron and all these other wonderful minerals that when you get it through food, the body goes, aha, I can use this.
Yeah. Courtney, there was an unusual taste in those beans that I have not had in black beans before, and I wanted you to share what that was so that I can make it again.
I'm pretty sure I usually use 2 parts cumin to 1 part each coriander and ginger, all ground spices, right?
Okay.
After the beans are soft, after they've simmered for a good hour for black beans, sometimes it takes longer, just keep simmering them till they're soft, and then add those ground spices in. For a big pot, you might use teaspoons. So 2 teaspoons cumin to 1 teaspoon each coriander and ginger is an Ayurvedic spice combination. And so Ayurveda is from India. It's the ancient Indian philosophy of how to heal and balance various body types with whole foods diet and lifestyle. And so these spices are known to help decrease gas in the intestines, and it just tastes. It's a really good, tasty combo.
Mm-hmm.
And you can add like an 1/8 teaspoon cayenne if you want it real pungent and spicy, or kind of go heavier on the ginger if you like that. Really, you can make it your own.
So name those spices again, because as soon as you said the gas in the intestines, and people are thinking black beans, some people avoid beans for that very reason.
I know.
These spices you're saying will help reduce the amount of gas buildup that you get.
Yes, and it's 2 parts cumin to 1 part each, coriander and ginger. But there's like 4 other steps you can take to make beans easier to digest. And we can talk about that today, or we can talk about that at some other time.
We'll have a whole bean segment.
Okay, good. Yeah, we'll do beans separate.
But I thought they tasted so good. It must be the ginger that I wasn't expecting. I tasted that, and I thought, now this is different but very delicious.
Yeah, and what's really good herb-wise at the very end is some fine minced fresh rosemary, or any herbs that are kind of on the sweet side, like kind of tarragon, but one of my favorite is marjoram. And I just put like a big fat tablespoon of dried marjoram in there, and maybe a teaspoon of sage and a teaspoon of dill. Is wonderful with the cumin, coriander, and ginger. And
I like the rosemary idea. Rosemary grows like a weed, you know, here in California. We have a huge, in fact, it's getting too big in our backyard. And so now I need some uses for it. So now I have another one.
I love how many different varieties there are. And some are sweeter and some are spicier. It's wonderful. All
right, I have to find this note that I got this week. Here it is. Okay, so Molly wrote in from Marina, California, which is just up from Santa Cruz, Monterey County. I believe that's Monterey. It's right there on the edge. It's saying you talked about last week with the cook you had on the show, you talked about glycemic levels. I was wondering if there were any tips for getting off of refined sugars.
Yay.
And so as it so happens to be, Molly, that is it. Courtney wanted to follow up with what she did last week. Yeah. And so first off, Courtney, let's define what refined sugars are. But looking at the clock, we do have a little bit of time. So let's start with the definition of refined sugars.
They're sugars that have been stripped of their fibers and vitamins and minerals where they come from. Like when it comes from sugar beets or sugar cane or any other sugar source, when they refine out the carbohydrate, the simple carbohydrate, the sugar, and they get products like white refined sugar or corn syrup. Those types of sugars, because they're void of fibers and vitamins and minerals, they hit the bloodstream really fast. And that spike in blood sugar is what indigenous people don't do. And it's not just related to insulin resistance and diabetes. It is directly related to high cholesterol and heart disease, cancer, sugars float around in the bloodstream and cause free radical damage, osteoporosis. They also compete with minerals for uptake. So insulin, when it's busy dealing with sugar, it can't deliver vitamins and minerals to where it's needed in the body, so osteoporosis sets in. Basically, the top 10 degenerative diseases are not just related to eating packaged food. It's that and spiking the blood sugar is what indigenous people don't do. It
can all be traced back to too much refined sugar in the diet. So any step backwards in the refining process is a better step, right? Because I know like brown sugar is not as highly refined as white sugar, right?
Actually, what brown sugar usually is white refined sugar with maple syrup or molasses added.
And molasses is part of the refining process.
Yeah, it's the byproduct. That's where all the vitamins and minerals go. But molasses is actually a wonderful whole sugar or natural sweetener that doesn't spike the blood sugar so fast. And if you have enough molasses, you can spike your blood sugar through the roof.
Yeah.
So with even all these whole sugars, like grade B maple syrup, or sucanat is also called rapadura sugar, and it looks like sand. It's brown. It's got the minerals in it. You can have too much of that and spike your blood sugar still. So what you want to work your way toward is using those types of sugars to get rid of sugar cravings, but then working your way toward less and less amounts of even the whole sugars, too.
Courtney Coleman, CookWell.org. We're back to tell you some steps to get yourself off of refined sugars. Back in just a moment.
Gary and Marcy Eberly of Eberly Winery invite you to a Harvest Festival dinner in the Caves with Top Chef Trey Wilcox. Friday, October 18th at 6 p.m. Chef Trey Wilcox has won numerous awards, both locally and nationally, and was named one of Food and Wine's best new chefs. Wilcox is all too familiar with the world of chefs and their egos. He was on Top Chef after all, but has no patience with famous for being famous shtick. He would rather just be known for his cooking, and his food is delicious. A perfect blend with Eberly's award-winning wines in the backdrop of their famous caves. Get ready for an amazing dining experience during Harvest Festival. Call Eberly Winery today. 238-9607. That's 238-9607. Dinner in the Caves at Eberly Winery with Top Chef Trey Wilcox. For more information, log on to EberlyWinery.com. Dinner in the Caves on Friday, October 18th during Harvest Festival at Eberly. Located on Highway 46, just 3 miles east of the 101 in the heart of Paso Robles wine country.
The award-winning Sunset Savor the Central Coast is once again set to highlight San Luis Obispo County this September 26th to the 29th. Many of your favorite events are returning to the lineup, as well as some new ways to play. Don't miss Sunset in the Vineyard on Saturday, September 28th at the Vina Robles Amphitheater. Start the night under a star-filled Paso Robles sky with a food and wine reception. Celebrity chef Michael Voltaggio will be on hand for a special book signing, and Grammy Award-winning Kobe Calais will perform her hit songs. Also new this year is the Saber Run, a 5 and 10K run or walk through downtown San Luis Obispo on Sunday, September 29th. A portion of your entry fee for this event helps rehabilitate local cancer survivors. For these events and more ways to play at this year's Sunset Savor the Central Coast, visit SavorCentralCoast.com.
And welcome back to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. This is our Market Fresh Hour, and it is our CookWell with Courtney segment. Courtney Coleman at CookWell.org has all sorts of fantastic tips for living a healthier lifestyle through diet. She'll even teach you how to cook. So if you're within the sound of our voice, you're within the sound of her car. And she can get herself to you to help teach you a class or two. Courtney joins us on the program. And when we ran up against the commercial break there, Courtney, you were defining what a refined sugar is.
Yeah.
And one of our listeners last week, Molly from Marina, wrote in a few days back and wanted to know if you had some steps for getting off of refined sugars.
Yes. Okay, so there's something called sugar withdrawal that you will experience if you try to go cold turkey off of cookies and candy bars, but even off of honey, maple syrup, molasses, even if you're using the whole sugars and lots of them and you're used to that, you'll experience headaches and tiredness as a sugar withdrawal symptom.
Similar to getting yourself off of caffeine or anything that you that has an addictive nature.
It is very similar to caffeine withdrawals. I've been through both.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found was what's easiest for people so that they don't lose their marbles during the workday and they can still
Right.
function in the world.
I mean, because we have to be realistic, right?
Oh, yeah, totally. Is gently baby step yourself off of the amount of refined sugar you're usually used to. Give yourself a month or two to have 2 cookies instead of 3 after lunch, or 1 cookie instead of 2. Do that for a week and then cut that in half the next week so that you don't get those intense headaches and tiredness. I mean, you'll be so tired, you'll feel like your eyes are closing and you don't have control of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's really a pretty big deal. And it's also messing with brain chemistry and hormones. Every time you spike your blood sugar, your brain chemistry and hormones are spiking themselves as well. They're all directly related to blood sugar.
I think a big source of these sugars, I just know this from working in office-type situations, is the vending machine, for one. And also, people have a tendency to come in with big trays of donuts or cookies they made at home or leftover Halloween candy. The people who have kids, they come in there and then they try to pawn it off on everyone in the office.
Yeah.
And we're coming up on Halloween, a month or so away. And so there's a constant temptation for people who work in that sort of environment.
Yeah.
How do you avoid that?
Well, it's really bad between October 31st and January 1st. That is the sugar season.
Yeah.
So I would have alternative treats in my purse ready to pop in my mouth when that's there and I want to choose differently. I might have dried figs in my purse.
So these are treats, Courtney, that contain whole sugars.
Yes, and so there's the thing of getting off refined sugar, and then there's the thing of getting lower glycemic as preventative medicine for those top 10 degenerative diseases. Because you can still spike your blood sugar with raw honey and maple syrup and all these wonderful whole sugars. So you want to work your way toward less and less amounts of those by carrying raisins or dates or dried figs in your purse with you, or bring them with you and put them in your locker at work.
I like dried apricots.
Oh, yeah. Dried fruit, as long as it's not sulfured, get it at the natural food store where it says unsulfured, and ideally organic, but I know a lot of good farmers out there aren't getting certified. It's a huge paperwork process and kind of a lot of money, so I don't always shop organic at farmers market, but I talk to the farmers and I see what their practices are. The sugar thing is a big, big deal.
I'll tell you what, Courtney, there is an apricot grower in the Hollister area that hits up farmers markets from the Bay Area through San Luis Obispo County that offers, among their dried apricots, they do offer some that are not sulfured. And they have more of a brown color than that bright orange that we're used to, but they taste the same. And they taste better, I think.
Always. Once you start shopping at a natural food store, you come across these discoveries yourself, and your taste buds change. Then, like half an apple is this wonderfully sweet treat after you give yourself that 6 months or a year to step yourself down off refined sugar and then step yourself down to smaller and smaller amounts of the natural sugars that, maybe a half teaspoon of raw honey is this wonderfully sweet treat eventually.
And
that's
sometimes
what you want to work your way toward.
Sometimes, either through accident or by choice, you find yourself having some refined sugars, and it is so sweet and like cloyingly sweet.
Right.
You can't. It's disgusting to you.
Right. it becomes unappealing. Your taste buds have adjusted to natural sugars, and the refined sugars are no longer even a draw for you.
Yeah, I took a sip of Coca-Cola the other day for the first time in, I can't even tell you, like 10 years or something.
Yeah.
And I just was like, how do people even drink that? Like, it's so sweet.
Yeah, for me, it constricts the back of my throat. My throat, it's almost like my body's rejecting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it almost hurts. Yeah.
Although I did use some Coca-Cola in a recipe that I made, and it was Coke made down in Mexico that uses it's still refined sugar, but it's not the high fructose corn syrup.
Yeah, yeah.
And you boil it down, and it's for making these carnitas dish that I found. And it was really good. But I mean,
with the subject of Mexico, I want to talk about agave, because real agave, it looks like molasses. It's dark, and you can't see through it. It's like black.
Oh, it's that dark. So the ones that we're seeing at the store that are see-through and sort of look the color of syrup are more refined?
They're more refined, yeah. And the reason I know this to be true, not just because I read it on foodrenegade.com, agave, good or bad, is the name of the article. And there's many articles about this, and many articles in the New York Times and other credible sources talking about blood sugar as a big factor in health, long-term health.
Foodrenegade.com.
Yeah, and then just, you can find so much information about blood sugar these days and how it's a huge culprit in degenerative disease among modern people. But agave should be thick and dark and black. They don't sell that at the natural food stores. And how I know that it is a higher glycemic sweetener is because once you're off of refined sugar and you're lower glycemic in your diet, once you go back to having a bite of sugar at a party or drink a half a Coke or something, you not only get that like constriction in the back of your throat, but you get the headache again. It's sort of the same symptoms of trying it again as when you're getting off of it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I have a teaspoon of agave in a cup of tea at someone's house when all they've got is agave to sweeten the tea, I get that headache in the front of my head. And then my hands start to shake a little bit. And we should talk about sugar metabolism versus fat metabolism.
Yeah, let's do that. I imagine sugar metabolizes much more quickly than fat.
Well, yeah, and because we grow up on sugary cereals in the morning and the pasta or white bread stuff at lunch or white rice, and then a huge amount of white potatoes at night or other high glycemic foods like wheat or corn. And I'm talking large amounts of these are very common in the standard American diet.
Yeah.
So we're used to that blood sugar spike throughout the day, throughout the lifetime. And what happens is our body sort of calibrates to that and starts running or using sugar for fuel instead of burning fats for fuel. And the human body is designed to run on fat, to burn fat as fuel, not sugars. So when you get lower glycemic, your body will switch to burning fats for fuel, and you'll eat a whole avocado at a meal or a big heaping tablespoon of virgin coconut oil or pasture butter, and it's the most wonderful, satisfying fat and flavor in your cooking or what you're eating. And you'll just be losing weight without even trying.
Isn't that funny? Like
yeah.
I use avocado in a lot of stuff, and I've heard people say to me, "Oh yeah, but avocados are so high in fat," and I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that.
All about the sugar. It's all about body type too. Some of us are carb types, some of us are protein types, some are mixed types. I'd recommend that people go to Mercola.com, Dr. Joseph Mercola's site, to do his nutritional typing test.
Yes.
Find out your particular body type and your needs.
All right, I hear the music playing us out, Courtney. I always feel like there's more to talk, but that's why we'll have you back next week.
Awesome.
To talk more and more. Courtney Coleman, CookWell.org is her website. Great information there. Reducing refined sugars in your diet. Courtney, thank you so much.
Thank you, Randall.
All right, everyone, stick around. We're back in just a moment with Chef Nathan Lyon. Stick around. We're back in just a moment with Chef Nathan Lyon.
Luna Red Restaurant in downtown San Luis Obispo is the perfect spot for a weekend brunch offered every Saturday and Sunday from 9:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. Enjoy farm-to-table breakfast plates such as the Ribbit Benedicts, Mission Steak and Eggs, and quinoa waffles topped with fresh market berries. Or opt for a lunch plate such as the grilled Asian-style fish taco salad or the roast chicken bacon avocado sandwich. Lounge on the sunny patio with views of the historical Mission Plaza while savoring our bottomless mimosas offered from 9:30 a.m. to noon. Hang out on Sunday afternoons from 3 to 5 p.m. and catch our live music on the patio during $5 happy hour. Luna Red also accommodates large parties, so call us today to make a reservation. Follow us on Facebook for daily specials and visit our website, lunaredslo.com, to view current seasonal menus, our live music schedule, or check out our happy hour offerings. Luna Red is located at 1023 Choro Street at the corner of Monterey. Come to be fulfilled.
Seems everybody's going organic, including lawn care. Did you know communities across the country are converting their lawns, playgrounds, and playing fields to an organic care program? And it's working. You can safely control weeds and pests and have a beautiful lawn. Your kids, pets, and water supplies will be safer, and your neighbors will be green with envy. Oh, and in the long run, organic lawn care is cheaper than doing it the conventional way. Switch to organic lawn care today. Visit pesticidefreelawns.org. The folks who brought you this public service message. Check out pesticidefreelawns.org today.
At the American Lung Association, we're fighting for a day when we can all breathe easier. We're fighting for clear skies over every city and healthy lungs throughout the country. We're fighting to free millions of Americans from the addictive grip of tobacco and the devastating effects of lung disease. The American Lung Association isn't just fighting for air, we're fighting for all the things that make it worth breathing, and we can use your help. See what you can do at fightingforair.org.
And welcome to the program, everyone. Great to have you with us. I am your host, Randall White. We should let you know that this hour of Market Fresh is brought to you by the wonderful people at Luna Red Restaurant in downtown San Luis Obispo. In fact, if you've never been there, I highly recommend going. They are all about farm to table, and that's what this show is all about. If you want more information, check them out online. It is lunaredslo.com, and take it from someone who eats there on pretty much a weekly basis. Their menu is amazing. All right, speaking of amazing, our next guest will be featured at the upcoming Savor the Central Coast, which, well, we all know how many amazing different events they have for that. Well, two of the big ones, the Colby Calais concert at Vina Robles, and also the big main events that happen on Saturday and Sunday, prominently feature our next guest here, Chef Nathan Lyon, who will be up from Los Angeles. Welcome to the program, Chef Lyon.
Randall, thank you so much for having me. This is a pleasure.
It's nice to have you back on again. We had you in studio 1 year ago when you were in town for SAVOR, and really enjoyed the experience. And I'm going to just plug it right off the top. Love your book, Great Food Starts Fresh. And you'll be signing copies of this book at the upcoming SAVOR event.
I will. There will actually be 3 different opportunities if you want to take a peek at my cookbook, both days where I'll be cooking at Chef Central. I'm actually kind of book-ending Chef Central. I start the whole thing off Saturday, September 28th at 11:30, and then I finish the entire day on Sunday between 3:30 and 4:15. And lastly, at the concert, I'll be there with Michael Vitaccia. We'll both have cookbooks to sign, too.
That'll be what an amazing event. And the new venue there at Vina Robles is just very impressive. And Colby Calais singing. Great food. You're making some, like a picnic-to-go sort of thing?
Yeah, I've been working with one of the local catering groups up there to make sure that we both have the same kind of ideas. Because I personally, coming up from Los Angeles, there's no way I can pull off, 1,000 different types of menus for people. So I have to send some recipe ideas and collaborate with people up there. And one thing I will say, Randall, it's very easy when everyone surrounding Saber, the Central Coast, believes in local fresh ingredients. So it's been quite a joy.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about your beliefs, and specifically day 2 up there on Sunday. Your focus will be farm to table. And you hear that thrown around a lot, but what does it mean to you? How do people incorporate that into their very busy lives?
Well, instead of approaching it by saying what most people in America might think of as being a bit difficult, to focus on farm to table, I just say, instead of looking forwards to the answer, let's look back a few 100 years to the answer, where our grandparents would eat local and seasonal. And from my background, which is a health science background, I just think Mother Nature puts everything that you're supposed to be eating in front of you at the time that you're supposed to be eating it, which is why, when it's 100 degrees outside, all those wonderful fruits and vegetables are available for things like a chilling gazpacho. You wouldn't think about making a roast root vegetable risotto because those root vegetables don't come out until late fall and winter when it's cold, when you're supposed to be eating those types of foods. So my whole philosophy being farm to table, it's nothing new, Randall, but what I like to say is when you go to your farmer's market, that's what you should be eating. And in addition, a bonus is those fresh produce items on selection are most tasty. So as a chef, I'm on a quest for the most flavor. They have the most nutrition. And they also cost the least amount of money because all the farmers are growing that same item.
Because they're not being shipped in, which adds costs to it, right? And the competition is great, like you just mentioned. And if it's right at the peak of freshness, that means it is just bountiful at that point. And we know about the law of supply and demand. So all those things work to bring down the price a bit.
Exactly. I mean, just think about when you buy a tomato in the middle of winter, and you buy a peach in the middle of winter, flown in from the south of Chile, it just doesn't have that flavor. It doesn't have the texture because you're not really supposed to be eating those things. You should be eating things that are at the farmer's market on offer from your local farmer.
Now, what about, we're so spoiled here in California, all the way from north to south, with the bounty of vegetables that we get at our farmers market. Many of the farmers, even in Los Angeles and San Francisco, drive in from the Central Valley. So we get such a wide variety. And I have to admit, even somebody like me who hosts a radio show that's all about food, on any given day at the farmer's market, there are several things I have no idea what they are. And I'm not afraid to buy them anymore because I figure, well, what's the worst thing that could happen? I wasted, $1.50 on something I can't pronounce and then brought home and didn't. You know what ends up happening is I bring it home and then I get kind of rushed and I forget to look up online for a way to prepare it. And then it goes bad in the refrigerator, which I feel bad about. But help me stop doing that.
I think your Market Fresh listeners can completely understand, and we've all been there at the farmers market. We want to kind of expand our culinary vocabulary by trying something new. And that's one of the reasons why I wrote my seasonal cookbook, Great Food Starts Fresh, is because I actually used to work at 4 different farmers markets here in L.A. for 10 years. So I worked for one particular farmer. And the amount of information that I gathered from working with different farmers at those different farmers markets is mind-numbing. And that's what I included in my book, mostly how to pick and store seasonal produce, and then also the information I was able to gather from farmers and the different flavor profiles that they feel that it has, the different feedback they get from their customers. So the great thing about the farmers market isn't just flavor. It isn't just the price. It isn't just the quality. It's the community of people, your community of local chefs, local artisans that gather there to share ideas. And that's one of the best things about farmers markets.
Now, seasonal produce is interesting because, for instance, we are just getting into broccoli season. But yet you've seen broccoli at the farmer's market for months, because of hoop houses and any number of ways that we can now grow. Even strawberries are a great example. You see strawberries at least in the San Luis Obispo area. We have strawberries at our farmer's market every month of the year.
Right.
But it's not strawberry season every month of the year. So how does someone educate themselves so that even though it's at their market, you still want to buy the produce when it would naturally be at its peak, right?
Well, that is true, but we do. I think you hit the nail right on the head, Randall. We do have it made here in California. We're quite spoiled. But you also have to keep in mind that if you look at the state of California from the coast all the way inland, just take Santa Barbara, for example, the different climates, microclimates that are just in Santa Barbara County alone. I think there are 12 of them. And if you grow something on the more cool or moist area closest to the water, it's going to be maybe 5, 6, 7 weeks later than over the mountain, where it's a lot cooler and hotter.
Yeah.
So there is quite a variable from south to north and also from west to east. And one of the things I think you were going to touch on is, let's say that you're not living in California. Let's say that you're living in Vermont or Maine, and the growing season a lot shorter. One of the things that I share on my television show, which is a PBS show called Growing a Greener World, is use frozen stuff. There's absolutely nothing wrong with frozen vegetables because growing up in the 70s, frozen vegetables were very different when it comes to the integrity. They used to freeze them a lot slower. Now they're flash frozen. So believe it or not, frozen vegetables that are frozen right then and there have better nutrition and better flavor than a vegetable flown or shipped or trucked all the way across the country fresh.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different variety that we have available to us, whether it's the farmer's market or the grocery store. And I think that's just such a fabulous thing.
You're right about the quality of the frozen vegetables nowadays and fruit as well. It's remarkable. And read your bags when you're buying the frozen stuff. Still try to get it as local as possible because they do freeze stuff even right here in California for the rest of the country. So, Chef Lyon, I had a friend of mine visiting from Wisconsin last, I guess it was February, and we went to Thursday night market in San Luis Obispo, and his head just kept turning. He could not believe what we had available. He's like, "What? Like this? You have this at your market right now, And
yeah.
so isn't that great? Since we're here, let's take full advantage of it.
It really is great, and I'm sure that all of your listeners of Market Fresh take full advantage of it as well. Because I have been to that Thursday market you're referring to, and it's just such a beautiful thing with the kids running around, all the parents there, the farmers. And again, it's such a beautiful community and a beautiful area of topography, so I can't wait to get back up there and start cooking and sharing.
Yeah, you'll be here in no time at all. The book, Great Food Starts Fresh by Chef Nathan Lyon. Find him at Savor the Central Coast. Just about every event they have, you'll see Chef Lyon there. And then if you want to learn more, check out Chef ChefNathanLyon.com you can get his cookbook there, and all sorts of other information is available via the website. I do wish you the safest of travels, and hopefully I'll be able. Last year I was not able to get to the SAVOR event. This year I'm telling myself no matter what, I'm heading up there to Santa Margarita Ranch to hit it up, because everyone just keeps telling me, what? You always talk about this, but you haven't been to it. And I said, you know what? I'm going to end that this year. I'm going.
Randall, I will save you many samples and a delicious glass of wine.
Well, thank you. Oh, yeah, that's right. In fact, I believe it's Edna Valley Vineyards that is supplying the wine during both of your cooking events that you have on Saturday and on Sunday. Chef Nathan Lyon, thank you so much.
Randall, it's a pleasure.
Luna Red Restaurant in downtown San Luis Obispo is the perfect spot for weekend brunch offered every Saturday and Sunday from 9:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. Enjoy farm-to-table breakfast plates such as the Ribbit Benedicts, Mission steak and eggs, and quinoa waffles topped with fresh market berries. Or opt for a lunch plate such as the grilled Asian-style fish taco salad or the roast chicken bacon avocado sandwich. Lounge on the sunny patio with views of the historical Mission Plaza while savoring our bottomless mimosas offered from 9:30 a.m. to noon. Hang out on Sunday afternoons from 3 to 5 p.m. and catch our live music on the patio during $5 happy hour. Luna Red also accommodates large parties, so call us today to make a reservation. Follow us on Facebook for daily specials and visit our website, lunaredslo.com, to view current seasonal menus, our live music schedule, or check out our happy hour offerings. Luna Red is located at 1023 Choro Street at the corner of Monterey. Come to be fulfilled.
The award-winning Sunset Savor the Central Coast is once again set to highlight San Luis Obispo County this September 26th to the 29th. Many of your favorite events are returning to the lineup, as well as some new ways to play. Don't miss Sunset in the Vineyard on Saturday, September 28th at the Vina Robles Amphitheater. Start the night under a star-filled Paso sky with a food and wine reception. Celebrity chef Michael Voltaggio will be on hand for a special book signing, and Grammy Award-winning Kobe Calais will perform her hit songs. Also new this year is the Saber Run, a 5 and 10K run or walk through downtown San Luis Obispo on Sunday, September 29th. A portion of your entry fee for this event helps rehabilitate local cancer survivors. For these events and more ways to play at this year's Sunset Savor the Central Coast, visit savorcentralcoast.com.
And welcome back to the program, everyone, for the final segment here of the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network's Market Fresh Hour. I am your host, Randall White. So glad you could join us to learn about all things fresh and local here in the state of California. And as you know, from the Oregon border to Nevada, all the way down to our border with Tijuana, we have just an amazing number of farmers markets throughout this state. Whether you're talking about the Ferry Plaza Farmers Market in San Francisco there, the one in Aptos is fantastic along the Central Coast. You go down into San Luis Obispo, the Thursday night market everyone knows about. And then one city that has certainly put itself on the map when it comes to farmers markets is Santa Monica. And that is the go-to place for so many chefs throughout Southern California who want to update their menus so that they are local, seasonal, sustainable, and that sort of thing. The farmers markets there in Santa Monica do a lot of outreach projects as well, and that's what we try to use this segment for, to connect you with other markets around the state who are doing some very interesting things. One thing that has proved successful for the Santa Monica markets run by the city of Santa Monica is in September. It's chili roasting month, and we all love our chilies here in California. Jody Lowe joins us right now. She's with the city of Santa Monica, specifically the farmers markets there, and has some details on all this. Hey, Jody.
Hey, Randall. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, well, exciting to have you on, because I would have to say that the farmers markets in Santa Monica are among my favorite to visit in the state when I'm in L.A. visiting my in-laws. I try to jet out to Santa Monica if I can at the given times. Where specifically, because you run more than one market, right?
Yes, that's correct. We run 4 weekly farmers markets. There's a couple on Saturday, both downtown Santa Monica and at Virginia Avenue Park. Our largest one Wednesdays, downtown Santa Monica as well, and then Sunday on Main and Ocean Park.
I've been to the Wednesday one, and it's a lot of fun. Which market or markets, I'm not sure, do the chili roasting?
Well, historically, we've always done the chili roasting at our Pico Farmers Markets, and it's, again, Saturday. We start at 9 o'clock with the chilies, and we roast until we're sold out, and it's a really great event. We had another little event, which was exciting, at our Sunday market, where we had kind of a chili face-off, but maybe we'll do that again next year. But chili roast on Saturday at the Pico Farmers Market, Virginia Avenue Park, Pico and Cloverfield.
So, Jody, chilies are everywhere at the market right about now. And so this is one way for you to take what the people are buying at the market and bring it a step further, because they might want to roast them when they get home. But we all know, while it's easy, it's a little painstaking to do it. So this is one of the ways that you can help people who are buying chilies at the market to further whatever they're going to end up using them with.
It's true, and the fantastic thing is, the chili roaster, it's this big southwestern chili roaster, and, that's run by propane. It's got these big fire jets, and it's a really fun thing to watch.
It's like a giant cage, right?
It is. It's like a giant cage that's, I think bigger than the size of a wine barrel. And it rotates around, and we put, a couple pounds of chilies, or a couple boxes of chilies, rather, into it at one time, different varieties. This week we're doing some Anaheim, some poblanos, and some jalapenos to give some variety, and then we sell them in 1-pound bags. And folks, come and they use them fresh, or they'll freeze them, and you can have them all year long. They freeze up really well and thaw out, and they're just beautiful.
I like the idea of freezing them for the upcoming holidays. You can serve them with your Thanksgiving dinner, or at some of your parties that you have between Thanksgiving and New Year's. You can just pull these out of the freezer, and they're already done for you.
Absolutely, and there's great recipes for them. I made this cheese and chili dip and put it in a bread bowl and baked it the other day. Oh my goodness, it was fantastic.
That sounds really simple. Is it just literally those are the ingredients, and then you sort of chop up the chilies, mix it in, melt the cheese, mix it in, and throw it in the oven?
Add a little mayonnaise, little garlic, chilies, some cheese, a couple different kinds of cheese, and make a bread bowl, throw it in, toast it on up, and you're good to go.
Low-fat cooking, that's what I love. No, that sounds really good, and you know your guests are going to love it. I mean, that's
absolutely
right along the lines. Which types of chilies are we seeing the most of at the market right now? Anaheim, I heard you mention. And poblano?
Mm-hmm. Poblanos are very popular. Those are one of the milder chilies. And then, of course, the hot jalapenos. Those are really good, too. Those are the three that we're focusing on this year. And we get them from a variety of our different farmers. I think this week we're getting them from Tutti Frutti Farms. I was going to ask about the vendors. Tutti Frutti comes in, and do they mostly where do these chilies grow? Do they grow in the Inland Empire or in the San Joaquin Valley? Tutti Frutti, I believe, is in Ventura County. I have to double check that. But we have farmers that come all throughout California.
Yeah.
I know another one of our growers, Alex Weiser and Weiser Family Farms, they grow some chilies, and they're out in Tehachapi. And, so kind of all over California.
I love it. Who brings the big giant cage, the chili roasting cage? Is that something that you guys have on hand there with the city, or does it come from one of the vendors?
Our boss, Laura Avery, some years back took a trip to the Southwest and brought it back with her. So it actually is in our possession. It's our property, and we pull it out and tune it up and fire it off every September. So, yep, it's ours.
About how chili roasting season, what do you say? It goes from early September through all of October?
Well, sure.
Beyond?
I mean, it depends. For us, we do the chili roast just for the month of September, but you'll find chilies starting in late July, early August, depending on the region that they're coming from. Santa Maria, you'll get some early, but they'll also have some late, possibly into November. Depends on how they do the plantings and obviously the weather variations throughout the season. So you could see them anywhere July to November, sometimes even December if it's a real mild winter.
We're speaking with Jody Lowe with the city of Santa Monica and their farmers markets. You can find more information through the city's website, which is SM for Santa Monica, gov.net. And then just go to the farmers market portal. And if you go there right now, you'll see that September isn't just chili roasting month. It's also sustainability month. What are some of the sustainability food workshops that you are offering?
Yeah, those are really exciting. We're partnering with our Office of Sustainability. We're doing healthy, fast meals on a budget. We've got a couple different events. One, again, at the Pico Farmers Market this weekend, September 14th. We're going to have 3 different demos and some shopping tips. And then on Saturday, September 21st, on the 3rd Street Promenade, we've partnered with the Chamber of Commerce and our Buy Local Expo, and we're going to be doing an additional 3 demos that day, too. It'll be lots of fun.
I think that's fantastic that you offer all these add-ons, things that you don't get when you go to one of the big box stores, right?
Yes, absolutely.
This is a better way to do it. Jody Lowe with the City of Santa Monica, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Randall.
All right, everyone, that does it for this hour of the show. We certainly hope that you'll stick around right here on this station. I'm your host, Randall White. You can always get more information at eatdrinkexplore.com. Any of the information you heard today, we have the links there. If a recipe was mentioned, we try to get the recipe on the site and that sort of thing. So we'll catch you back here for our Sunday 9 to 10 o'clock hour. Don't forget about that. I'm your host, Randall White. Take care.